Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as I give you a late April garden tour. So let's go. I'm officially 2 weeks out from my average last frost date, which means it's almost go time to plant all my annuals that I started from seed. I'll be doing a separate seedling tour coming up very shortly, so be on the lookout for that video. But for today, I wanted to capture some beautiful flowers in the yard, and I'm mostly going to focus on what is blooming right now. And as other perennials start coming up and annuals get planted, I'll bring you in closer for those plants. So what I'm going to do is turn the camera around and I'm going to show you all the plants that look beautiful in my garden right now. We are on the west side of my house, which is basically my front yard. And you can see there's a lot of color right now. Down at the base here, we have a lot of pansies that actually overwintered. And I took a lot of pansies from this area recently and put them in my hanging baskets. But there's still a bunch more and they just look so beautiful. Yesterday, I planted over 250 pansies that I had started from seed indoors under my LED grow lights. They were not blooming yet, so they are all tucked in basically in this bed here, as well as up along my entire walkway. There are some very pretty blue colored pansies, as well as the yellow and purple ones that you see in this bed. And my hope is they will bloom within the next month, and then they'll drop their seeds, and hopefully we'll have even a better display next year. I have some rhododendrons over here. They're the smaller leafed ones, and they are just starting to bloom. And you can see this one here is starting right now, and then that one is budded up, and then this one will come afterwards. Up along the walkway, there are plenty of spring bulbs still looking beautiful. Let me take you in so you can take a closer peek. Up along the front walkway, I have basically a repeating pattern. And you can see that the grape hyacinths are looking gorgeous. And at the base of each of the groups of grape hyacinths, I planted all those seed pansies. So what I'm thinking is, as soon as the grape hyacinths go by, then we'll have a nice flush of pansies blooming around them. I have a gorgeous purple hyacinth. I had gotten some hyacinths from my parents' house before they sold it, and that's one of them. And these have just started to go by, but they are so beautiful. They're called bloodroot, and I love them in that they're a nice white color in the springtime. And you can see my spring larkspur is also looking beautiful still, and it's been blooming for a number of weeks. But I just love the way that all these colors blend along my front walkway. And this is just a different angle looking from there. And as we continue along the front walkway, we're basically heading to what I call the bay window bed. And yesterday what I did was, you see the yellow color there? I added more of the purple hyacinth and I put them in between each of these yellow colored Leopard's Bane. Together we planted these spring hanging baskets. And it was a nice, cheap, easy way to make a spring basket. And I just dug up the pansies from that area that I just showed you. And basically, as you head down my driveway to the main road, there are a number of baskets hanging from the trees. Last year, I had made a video showing you just planting a bunch of daffodils along my driveway. And some of them are really putting on a pretty show. They're starting to go by, but I'm really pleased with how they came out. And I have them lined on both sides of my driveway. We're still on the west side of my house, and this is basically a flower bed that's on the left-hand side as you come up my driveway. And there's a lot of beautiful things in here, but what you see blooming are some different colors of daffodils. As we head away from that bed and we head over to basically what I call the lilac bed, there are some beautiful daffodils blooming in here as well. And I put them behind the row of Stella d'Oro daylilies so that basically when the daffodils go by, you leave the leaves there so that they're photosynthesizing, but they won't be too much of a distraction because then you'll focus on other plants in this garden that are starting to bloom. Now let's head over to this section here. Would you believe me if I told you that many of these daffodils were divided and divided and divided over the years? And that's why I have so many daffodils, to be honest with you. And there are sections where there are like daffodil leaves and nothing's blooming. And that's simply because of the fact that I keep dividing my daffodils and moving them around. And so every year the display will look more and more beautiful. As we leave the front yard, we're going to head towards the backyard. And the backyard is the north facing side of my house. This is the same plant that I showed you over in my bay window bed. It is beautiful. It's a perennial and it is called Leopard's Bane. I just love it and I love dividing and moving it all around my yard. And right behind the Leopard's Bane is a Hellebore. And last year I showed you how to divide Hellebores. So you can see I have two pieces now. And this has been blooming for a number of weeks. It's just gorgeous. And right near the Hellebore is a Jacob's ladder. And I have a ton of Jacob's ladder also divided around my yard. And you can see that the Jacob's ladder is just starting to bud up. And right near the Jacob's ladder, you can see this is budded up. This is a bleeding heart, and it's a fringed leaf bleeding heart. Here at the base of this tree is a type of wild ginger. And I think it's so delicate, so sweet, and I love it in a woodland type of setting. Aren't these daffodils so sweet? I just think they're very delicate. My flowering almond is all budded up. When it's blooming, I will definitely show you what it looks like. It is so pretty. And the same is true for my quince. So beautiful, and once it's in bloom, I will bring you in so you can see what that looks like. As we continue towards the backyard, I want you to notice the heuchera that's towards the front of this bed. That's another plant that I just love dividing and moving, and it looks so pretty towards the front of a flower bed. And I like to mix it with all different colors, just so it stands out more. You can see that the peonies are just starting to wake up. Pretty soon I'll be putting a support cage around all of them. And oh my, are the daffodils in their glory. I love showing you my process for dividing and moving my spring bulbs. It really just adds to the number of bulbs you can have in your garden. The spring garden has been planted up, and I'll be adding insect netting over the brassicas here. The peas have been planted over there. I'll be planting green beans over in this area, and cucumbers will be planted over here. And the asparagus is ready to be harvested. I absolutely love grilled asparagus. As we head away from the backyard, as well as the vegetable garden, we are going towards a circular garden. And this is my rose garden. I have a lot of different roses in here. Some Shasta daisies, a few different perennials. But you can see the star of the show right now are these beautiful daffodils. They are just starting to open up, and I really love them. I feel like they're a little different than any other daffodil that I have in my yard, which is why they have this special place in the rose garden. I only started with a handful of these daffodils about 5 years ago, and every single year I divide them. I have a couple of different kinds of forsythia in my yard, and this one blooms a little bit later, which is a nice surprise compared to the ones I have towards the bottom of my driveway, which bloomed earlier. And even though this area is a weedy mess, I really try to enjoy the beauty amongst it. And there's more of that leopard's bane down there. The yard is waking up, and the lawn is getting greener and greener by the day. I have a lot of plans for all the flower beds where the lawn ends and the woods start. The beds are pretty much prepared, but they really need plants to be put in them. And that's going to be a major focus of mine this year. As we head this way, we're heading towards the south side of my house. And you can see I have a barn there, and at the base of the barn are a bunch of hosta, and they are all starting to wake up. I have a couple of more Hellebore in this area, and I divided these as well last year. And they really have just put on such a beautiful display. Isn't that just so pretty? At the base of my hosta garden, these beautiful flowers that you see, they're called pulmonaria or lungwort. I'll take you in for a closer look so you can see how pretty they are. What I really like about them is that they put on a beautiful display of color between the purple and pink flowers. But then what happens is the leaves actually get larger and tougher as the season goes on. And they really provide a lot of wonderful interest all season long. This hosta bed is packed with a ton of different hosta, from tiny hosta to very large hosta and everything in between. And last year we put drip irrigation in this bed to make sure that those hosta are getting the water that they need. Here in the hosta garden, I planted a few primrose, and I was able to divide them into pieces. You can see there's one division here, and there's a few others, but look how beautiful this primrose is. I love the fact that they overwinter and are a perennial here in my zone. As we head away from my backyard and these gardens here, which I refer to as my east gardens, we're now going to head towards my south gardens. I really love growing spring bulbs in pots. I just think they're so pretty. They add that nice color, that nice pop. And you can see that I have some beautiful yellow as well as red tulips in these pots here. And then I also have some daffodils. And some bulbs, like the tete-a-tete daffodils, have already gone by. but I'm still letting them photosynthesize and feed the bulbs so that they put on a great display for next year. As we head down my porch, you can see I have a flower bed right here. And I love this flower bed because it's one flower bed that receives pretty much full sun. And I don't have a lot of full sun in my yard, so I take full advantage of planting a lot of plants in this flower bed. Let's go down there and take a look. Don't those hyacinths look so pretty? I just love them. I really love all the color in this bed. And again, you can see there's more of those potted up tulips that just add that nice pop of red color to this bed. As we continue on the south side of my house, you can see I have a patch of lawn, which is up on the right-hand side of my driveway. And where the lawn ends and the woods begin, I've created flower beds. And I'm all about patterns and repeating those patterns. So you can see towards the front of the flower bed, there's a lot of nice spring color. The pink larkspur, it's just starting to go by, but there are some beautiful daffodils as well as the pulmonaria or lungwort. And just look how beautiful these daffodils are on this side of the garden. As we head this way, that's where my backyard plant nursery is, where I sell a lot of plants. I'll bring you down there for a peek. There are just way too many plants to list in here, but a lot of plants were plants that I had winter sown, and they were from seeds that I collected. And then there are some plants in here that I divided from my own property. And things are really picking up. We've already had a lot of people stop in to buy plants, which is very exciting. We used some wood chips and we lined the main pathways with those wood chips, which has been really nice. I really hope you enjoyed this late April garden tour. I am looking forward to showing you more garden tours as more perennials start blooming, as well as when more annuals get added to the garden. I hope you're able to get out and enjoy your gardens as well. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.